Watch this.
Ahead on this Friday, beyond the 208. Starting at the State House in Idaho, a new pitch to remove DEI from higher education in the Gem State, why lawmakers are bringing a new bill and what they hope to accomplish with it. A major water deal reached last year was a sigh of relief for agriculture operations across eastern Idaho, but to make the deal happen, a crucial piece of funding needs to clear the Idaho State House. Time to put it to the legislative test. It's Treefort weekend. In sync with its nod to nature, the festival is making major strides for a sustainable culture throughout the entire event. We take you there for the sights, sounds, and sensibilities. Last fall, Idaho public universities closed their diversity, equity, and inclusion offices for what we are told was in anticipation of measures to be introduced this session at the State House, as well as a resolution by the State Board of Education that banned DEI offices and resources in higher education. That passed back in December. And that includes the University of Idaho, Boise State University, and Idaho State. And the anticipated legislation came in February by Senator Tays. It's an interesting conversation happening down at the State House, but it was a bill essentially doing what the State Board did in December. That bill, Senate Bill 1123, still has not got a hearing, but Senator Tays trying again, adding additional language in a new bill, Senate Bill 1198. And Aspen Shumpert joins us here on the 208. This one appears to be moving a lot quicker, Aspen.
Yeah, it sure does. It was introduced yesterday and already got a hearing this morning. The goal of this new bill is not far off from the last bill we saw. This bill defines DEI as targeted programs based on concepts like unconscious bias, microaggressions, and structural equity, which it links to what is called critical theory. Senate Bill 1198 prohibits higher education institutions from maintaining diversity, equity, and inclusion offices, employing DEI officers, or requiring students to take courses related to DEI concepts.
The sad reality is that DEI actually divides, excludes, and indoctrinates, which is clearly counterproductive in developing citizens to operate in a free society.
Universities would need to submit annual compliance reports to the Senate and House Education Committees and the Attorney General beginning in 2026. It also empowers the Attorney General to investigate violations and seek penalties of up to 2% of an offending department's budget. Both students and staff would gain the right to file lawsuits against universities that violate that law. This did pass out of the committee, so now heads to the full Senate floor for further debate. Again, this is similar to what we've heard before, a few language changes, a little bit longer in pages, but for the most part, same idea.
And Aspen, staying at the State House, I heard rumblings of some other, activities, specifically in the Idaho Senate. What's the lowdown there?
Yeah, the Senate did have some senators walk off the floor as budget bills were being considered. We reached out to Senator Bierke, who was presenting several of the budget bills, and it appears it came down to a difference of how long these bills should get debated. There was a motion to limit the debate to 90 seconds per person. In response to that, there was a second motion made to read the bills in their entirety. And some of these bills are long. One was even 64 pages. This is when a group of at least 20 senators walked out so that there would not be a quorum in order to vote on the bills. Now, some of the senators who did not leave the floor shared their opinions in a Facebook Live video earlier today.
If they're not going to allow us to have a longer debate, then we will be objecting and allowing them to read the bills so that it will slow down the process. Everyone could hear, everyone can go and try to get more information on their own since we're not allowed to do that on the floor.
So there are 3 Republican senators, Glenda Zeiderveld, Senator Christy Zeddo, and Senator Joshua Cole. The floor did adjourn for the day after those senators walked out. We are hoping to learn a little bit more about the walk-off and the motions that were made from lawmakers on Monday.
I know there's a lot of frustration and conversations about budgets at the State House. Could be a sticking point. We will follow this on Monday. Aspen, thank you for the insight. More excitement at the State House this week, and we'll start with last summer, where we closely followed the crucial water negotiations between surface and groundwater users, a conflict that peaked with some agricultural operations facing a water shutoff from the state, and really talking about the eastern part of our state here. In the end, though, the water kept flowing, and eventually a deal was met. All parties were pretty thrilled to get a new water mitigation deal done to arrange how water flows to different rights and different rights holders. A major key to the agreement being successfully executed, an ongoing investment from the state of Idaho into water infrastructure project. And these are projects to recharge the aquifer through eastern Idaho and measures to improve efficiency in water monitoring. There's a lot that needs to get done. And the financial investment is a part of the Department of Water Resources budget. And critics push back on the pitch being a solution, questioning during debate on the budget how the money will be used, questioning possible bureaucrats taking advantage of everything.
There's no guarantee that this money isn't going to get caught up in that process as well. For me, I think we need to have some safeguards put in place. I think we need to go and have an itemized list of what the projects are going to be, what their priorities are, so we can go and have actual oversight as a legislative body.
We know where the dollars are going to go. Not only that, this also has a requirement that there is an annual report that has to be submitted as it relates to the projects that are funded.
I just can't vote in favor of this because it just doesn't really hit my district like it does maybe yours. And I do think that there needs to be a different plan and a different approach to what's going on with our water issue in the state.
This touches all of us and is important to all of our districts, and I would very much encourage you to vote green.
So as you heard, supporters push back on this notion that this is not a good solution, explaining that this could actually be the most important topic and vote of the year for the state of Idaho. Some spoke out, though, about the government being, a handout and saying that farmers and agricultural operations are being wildly successful and they don't need this money.
Why aren't they chipping in their own money to fix the system instead of asking everybody else in the state to take care of it for them? It's a hard topic. I hate to say it, but truth hurts.
Private investment in this infrastructure is enormous. My family alone participated in the multi-million-dollar project, entirely privately funded, over 10 miles.
I promised to do everything I could to codify whatever was necessary to make that agreement successful.
The measure in the end cleared the Idaho House 56-13 with one lawmaker absent, a major win for agriculture and farming advocates. It heads to the Idaho Senate now. Again, farmers we spoke with say they have a lot of personal investment they will be making moving forward. So what else do you need to know from the week that was? Here's a rundown of top legislation that we followed in this week's Legislative Wrap. The week that was kicked off with smiles in the governor's office, a new law signed to help Idaho women catch breast cancer development through comprehensive scans, an emotional tie for Representative Brooke Green, the bill's sponsor, who is currently fighting breast cancer for a second time. The new law requires most insurance companies to cover supplemental breast cancer screenings like ultrasounds and MRIs for high-risk patients.
We actually have some of the lowest actual screenings of women in the United States. What we're seeing is a lot of women who are not taking advantage of their diagnostic imaging because the cost is so prohibitive.
Later in the week, a group of Idaho lawmakers shaved their head in support of Green and the fight against breast cancer. Transparency was the theme on Tuesday. Lawmakers in the Idaho House approved a bill to update the sunshine laws from the 1970s to modern times, while also elevating lobbyists to a higher level of transparency, like campaigns are forced to deal with right now. Secretary of State Phil McGrain explained in committee the actions in play for registered lobbyists, those direct and, more importantly, indirect actions that influence lawmakers and their votes.
Instead of approaching you directly, Representative Hotseller, and saying, hey, how can I win your vote or whatnot, instead we're seeing text messages to your constituents or mailers in your district.
Legislation passed the House. It's now in the Senate. Another round of property tax cuts was signed into law on Wednesday. House Bill 304 puts $100 million towards property tax relief and school facilities. The bill sponsors estimate there will be about a 14% decrease on the average property tax bill.
We're seeing taxes cut historically this year in the Idaho legislature. And these are things that really impact people's lives.
The property tax relief is one of several tax cuts that's already been signed into law from this session. Later in the day on Wednesday, continued debate on House Bill 389. The bill to allow the state of Idaho to fight fires on federal lands and then seek reimbursement for doing so. But the Bureau of Land Management says that a system for that already exists. It's called the Master Fire Agreement, and it's been in place since 2006. The legislation would also give Idaho's Attorney General authority to seek reimbursement through civil suits against the federal government. But critics are concerned that that would violate the existing agreement.
I'm trying to figure out how the Attorney General's office is going to have a chance at being successful in a lawsuit when we've already entered into an agreement regarding who pays what in these situations and who has what obligations.
Up next, full Senate is set to debate this legislation. Major news on Thursday. House Bill 83 makes undocumented entry into Idaho a misdemeanor and re-entry a felony. It was signed into law by Governor Brad Little. It creates a new crime of, quote, trafficking a dangerous alien for anyone knowingly bringing an undocumented, dangerous convicted criminal into the state of Idaho. The law went into effect immediately per an emergency clause. Critics say that the law is illegal, with a court challenge already filed. And a temporary restraining order was granted for the case to pause the enforcement of the law for 14 days.
The lawsuit violates the U.S. Constitution in 3 ways. First of all, immigration is exclusively within the purview of the federal government. Any state laws that relate to immigration at all or that conflict with federal law are preempted and are unconstitutional.
And that's a legislative wrap. Excited for Treefort weekend? 13 forts to dive into. Music, computer hacking, podcasting, skateboarding. It's got everything. A major footprint in downtown Boise. And organizers this year keeping a special eye on improving sustainability and efficiency. What's on your mind this fine Friday? Something about the show or maybe beyond it? Whatever it is, send it in. 208-321-5614. That's the number to our text line. When you send a message in, include your name and hashtag the 208. We're going to read some of these live on the big board at the end of the show. Music festivals can be a messy business with tons of trash and plenty of waste, but Treefort Music Festival, they are working to change that. The goal is to become one of the first festivals in the country to go zero waste. Our photojournalist, Jason Foster, caught up with one of the garbage gals to talk a little Treefort trash.
I feel like festivals are notorious for a lot of waste. We are really striving to be a zero waste festival. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This is actually my 10th year with Treefort. We just want to take care of our community, really, and we want to show our community that we can be pretty good stewards of the park, of our city, We really pride our green team, our team of volunteers, leaving no trace, right? We really, again, take pride in cleaning this place up. The green team has been around for quite a while. We make up over 100 volunteers. We're really trying to divert waste away from the landfill. We really hope that you're enjoying the music, but you're also paying attention to where your waste is going, whether it's going to be trash, whether it's going to be recycling, whether it's going to be compost. In years past, we've only had 3 compost stations, and now we have 40 throughout the park. New this year, we've actually partnered with Timber Creek Recycling and Eco Products to make it so that any of our single-use products that come out of the food truck, any single-use plastic cups that come out of our bars, are compostable. Timber Creek let us know that they could compost all food scraps and that we could actually have products like plates, silverware, single-use cups that also are compostable. We have great volunteers who come back year after year. They take pride in keeping this park clean and keeping the festival clean. They go through the recycling to make sure that everything is actually able to be recycled. And now this year, they're gonna sort through and make sure that everything is compostable too.
So we make sure everything's sorted.
It is a dirty job, but it's a fun job. You may not notice the volunteers, but you definitely notice that there's not really that much trash on the ground. We just want show the volunteers love. If you see them walking around changing bags, just give them a high five. I know that they really appreciate it. That volunteer really cares about sustainability. They really care about our community. They really care about the festival. And again, I think everybody really takes pride in making sure that we have a clean festival.
Treefort is in day 3 of the 5-day festival, and you can still find select tickets right now on their website, or you can enjoy the many free venues around downtown. Just walk down there and listen for the music. And don't forget, bring your reusable cups so that you can enjoy an adult beverage or something else at Alefort. Have a great time out there. Boise isn't the only city celebrating with the festival this weekend. Portland, Oregon is about to burst into color with the first ever citywide Holi Festival. Ashley Grams at our sister station in Portland shows us the colorful display that will take place in Portland's living room for this week's Beyond the 208.
My vision is to be able to pick Portland's living room, Pioneer Courthouse Square, as the canvas on which we're going to draw this beautiful picture of the most colorful Portland you could ever imagine.
This weekend, Pioneer Courthouse Square will be transformed into a vibrant canvas of celebration. The first official Portland Holi Festival will bring an ancient Indian tradition of joy and unity to the Rose City.
Seattle, happy Holi! And I was thinking to myself, I've gone to Seattle, LA, Denver, New Orleans, and been part of these big festivals in other cities. Why doesn't my city have something like this?
Holi celebrates the transition from cold winters to bright and colorful spring. Rooted in the Hindu tradition, DJ Prashant says Holi is more than just a color festival. He calls it a celebration of community, renewal, and love.
So the night before Holi in India, there's a big fire and it's supposed to burn off all of the negative energy, and then the next day the colors bring in the vibrancy back into our life.
The event is free to attend, and the main highlight, well, the massive color throws. Over 1,500 color packets were imported from India and will be available to purchase and throw at the festival. Proceeds will support DJ Prashant's nonprofit, Dance United, which incorporates science education in dance classes.
Definitely look forward to the color throws, so make sure you're there 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m. if you ask me, all of the time, and have a big old party. But the most important thing is that color throw. It is something that you have to witness and be part of to truly experience it.
So if you happen to be in Portland this weekend or have family or friends there who want to enjoy a colorful weekend, that is happening Saturday and Sunday at Pioneer Courthouse Square in downtown Portland from noon to 5 both days. Free to attend and open to all ages.
Well, those winds are certainly picking up outside. This Boise camera here was just shaking a few moments ago, probably making it feel a little cooler than it actually is, even though it's in the 50s. Unfortunate for those Treefort goers or those just looking to go out and enjoy your Friday night. We have been seeing widespread precipitation throughout today. You can see that there's a lot of action going on. And if you look at the Treasure Valley over here, you can see these orange spots. Those are spots that have potential for thunderstorming. It looks like they're getting the heaviest rainfall at this moment. This is a little bit sad to look at. This is how much we've dropped in temperatures around the area since the same time yesterday. Boise is almost 20 degrees cooler right now than it was yesterday. Nampa and Caldwell, 29-degree drop since yesterday. The Magic Valley as well, 12-degree drop, and the mountains have dropped as well. Here's a look at the Treasure Valley for the next 12 hours now. That precipitation is looking to last probably until 11 p.m. tonight, and then we're going to have a brief break overnight, but then that precipitation quickly comes back tomorrow, and it looks like it's going to last for the duration of Saturday until the afternoon, about 4 or 5 o'clock when it tapers off a bit, and then we're looking dry for Sunday, for the most of Sunday, because that precipitation is going to return at 6 p.m. or so on Sunday night. Then it's going to stick around for the duration of the week. We have very unsettled weather to come for the whole week. Starting Tuesday is when we have chances of snow showers down to the valley floors. Overall, we're going to be bouncing around the 50s, rather seasonable temperatures for this week.
All right, to the big board for some comments to end the week on the 208. This person wants to ask, what would be a violation of the mentioned DEI law that would trigger a lawsuit or fine? Sheila, so if you read the law, the idea of it behind it is for injunctive relief or corrective action. The idea would be that the AG's office would compel a department or a program to change what they're doing. However, if they don't do that, they could lose about 2% of that budget from their department. So there is a punitive penalty if you don't make a change. Bob writes, hashtag the 208. I'm glad the governor signed a bill about breast cancer. I wish they would have had this a few years ago. I lost my daughter from breast cancer. Bob, so sorry for your loss. I know that I talked with Representative Brooke Green. She said that she was bringing this bill so people like her who continue to fight breast cancer can be here with their families long term. A great action from the state of Idaho. And I know that Brooke Green is proud and hoping it'll make a big difference in the near future. This person writes, just wondering if the governor had signed a bill about the homeless camps where they expect these people to go if they didn't pick to be homeless. A lot of families, one paycheck away from being homeless. Bob, that actually, the legislation you're talking about, the camping ban, it passed the entire state house and is now on the governor's desk. He has not taken any action on it yet, but we will circle back next week, certainly following that. A lot of people concerned or wondering how that will work. Bill J. writes, what's your best guess about when the legislature will wrap up? Bill, if I was a betting man and I'm not, I'd say probably 2 or 3 weeks. They got a lot of budgets to get through. Sheila says, yay for the green team, and a shout out to my daughter, the awesome garbage gal. Oh, well, someone's got to take out the garbage. Have a great weekend at Treefort, everyone.
Continue with us and watch free now on the KTVB Plus app everywhere you stream.